All right, and welcome to another Dash of Reading. I'm your host, Dash. My co-host Amber and my co-host Dana are
Hi.
here, and we're going to be talking 11/22/63 by Stephen King.
Yay.
But before we get started, how is everybody doing?
Good.
Yeah, good.
Good.
Good. Everybody's good. Everybody's great. Everybody's grand.
It's
Yeah.
not snowing here.
It's not. It is not snowing and it is not icing, and we had almost 70-degree weather today. So
Oh, I can't say that, but
We didn't have nice weather either.
I mean, it was sunny, but it wasn't 70 degrees.
No,
I think
it's
it
been
was
rainy.
yeah, I think it was 68 today. So yeah, we're supposed to hit a couple 70s this week. So I'm hoping winter's gone. So
You are warmer than we are.
Yeah.
well, it's finally. I can
You'll
say
take it,
finally
right?
because well, what was it? Tuesday, Wednesday, or Wednesday, Thursday, or Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we were single digits during the day, and then at night we were negative digits with the wind chill. So, yeah, it's cold.
My daughter in Galveston said that she has an internship that requires her to be outside a lot on Galveston Island. And one day earlier this week, it was 19 with the wind chill, and they were like, "Never mind, we'll do that another day."
Yeah, go.
We don't
Yeah.
we don't know how to do that down here.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Please explain your little bio.
I bet I have a higher score than on the rating for today.
Oh, okay.
Today's rating.
Like we play a game and I don't know.
Listen, I 99% of the time I have a higher score than you on most books anyway. So I always leave that margin for error when you pick a book and I don't like it.
Well, Dana picked this one.
I'm just messing. I'm just messing. Well, other than that,
Yeah, am I still on probation, or does this get me off?
Dana's still on probation.
you. No, she's off. She's off. This book.
Okay.
This book.
This book
She is in the fold. She is in the fold. She is part of the group. She has 33.333333% stake in the show.
Shareholders, yeah. You're here.
Awesome.
You are part of the board. Yeah, you're part of the board. You name it, you got it. So yeah, we this was a long book. So we're gonna get into it.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. It was a great book. Before we get into that, we are going to go into, if I can find it.
Hi. So 11/22/63 is a Stephen King novel written in 2011, I think. And Jake Epping is a teacher in Maine, and he is friends with just a mom and pop kind of diner. And the owner of the diner tells him that he has a portal to the past. And every time you go into it, it's always the same date in September. I watched the show and that's all different. So I don't remember. I think it's 1958.
Yeah.
I don't know why they changed the date in the show. It drove me crazy. Anyway, 1958. And he has decided that the store owner wanted to go back into the past to stop the JFK assassination because he feels like if he stops that, then the world will be better because of Vietnam and probably wouldn't happen or everything would be better is what he is saying. And so Jake takes that leap to go into the past, and that's pretty much all you need to know. And it's like 1,000 pages of Jake's, trial and error of trying to, because first he has to figure out if Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone, if Lee Harvey Oswald did it at all. So it's a lot of different moving parts and components. So that's pretty much it. Time travel, sci-fi.
Oh, good recap. Yeah.
Good at that.
So y'all heard it there.
Totally forgot
That's
this one,
the book.
Totally forgot I was supposed to do that with this one.
That's the That's the book. That's the show. We'll see you all next week.
Just read it and get back to us.
So a little bit different. Well, I mean, yeah, I think this is a little bit different than some of his Stephen King stuff. You know, in the way I felt this wasn't even. I put it down as a time travel adventure thriller, but this was more of a. Could it be a romance? Could it absolutely be 100% a romance book?
There's components of romance. I wouldn't ever label it that though. Mm-hmm.
The end did make you, get you in the feels. So
yeah. Well, it's just like with Outlander. It's very hard to label Outlander because of the time travel and the history and the romance. So I think 11/22/63 is just, it's very hard to place. I personally think time travel is sci-fi, so that's where I would put it if I had to shelve it in a bookstore. But
it also has kind of adventure sort of vibes at times. So
yeah.
Mostly he writes horror, they have to put this into the horror. That's why I'm with you. It'd probably go sci-fi and or just general fiction or romance. No, I'm kidding. One thing that stood out to me, and again, this is something that Stephen King is very well known for, and that is bringing characters from other books into the books that he's writing. And I thought Bevan Ritchie being involved, him going into Derry and meeting with Bevan Ritchie right off the bat, I was expecting a little bit more of them to show up, but I thought that was pretty cool. But do you think that was just fan service because it really didn't play anything into the novel itself? Dana?
So I haven't read that book, but I'm assuming that they were actually characters in that book. That's kind of what I picked up. Yeah,
they were part of it. They were part of it, and the so the time that he's there is right after the first attack of it with Georgie's brother getting pulled into.
So anyway, I thought that was so interesting because even though I hadn't read it is such a cultural phenomenon that I immediately knew. I was like, oh, Pennywise is in town, that's what's going on here. So even though I didn't really know the book, so I didn't know if those two characters were specifically in the book, but obviously they are. So yeah, sure, it plays fan fiction, but I also thought it was sort of a picture of, and I don't want to get too much into other parts of the book if we're not there yet, but of what his relationship could have been, with his love interest in the book. It was sort of like a younger version of them. And I think at the end, he sort of is thinking back towards that too, and thinking over everything that happened. And I pictured him with having that in mind all the time. Like that could have been us, years ago, that would have been us. So
I have not read it either, but I knew that it was referencing it because of the host of the sewer and the balloon that they made references. So at that point, I just assumed Bevan Ritchie were from that book. Because I just felt like I was missing information. That's the only time I felt like I was missing information, right? I think they're important because of the Lindy Hop. And that dance is so important throughout the whole novel. I actually paused reading and Googled it so I could see it. And it's so neat to watch. And one of the videos I found, the first comment that popped up was, I just finished reading 11/22/63, so I wanted to come see what it looked like. So I think that's why Bevan Ritchie are important. And I think maybe their relationship kind of weaves its way through. But Ellen Hildebrand is another author. She writes a lot of her novels on the island of Nantucket. And even though the stories don't always intertwine, you see side characters pop up as other side characters and whatever. And I think authors do that when they have a really strong fan following. And I actually think it's really cool when they do that. Christine also pops up, the car that he sees when he first goes into the Plymouth Fury, I think, is the Christine car. I think.
The Plymouth Fury.
Cool.
But you,
Yeah, I
you, I
like
mean,
that
you
he
really
did.
like
I
have
thought
to be
it was-
paying attention to the play.
Mhm. Well, Christine, I've never read Christine, and I need to because Christine is my favorite Stephen King movie. And so that's why I caught the car right away.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, yeah. If you're not a King fan, the Plymouth Fury is just going to be like, well, he's just talking about a Plymouth Fury, and you just move on. But yeah, there's other. I was trying to catch. I caught Christine. I caught it. I want to say there's another one in there, but now I'm drawing a blank. But I think there's one other one. I'll have to research it. But yeah. I mean, that's to me that him and Sadie are based. Him and Sadie's romance is. This is me again. Him and Sadie's romance is based off Richie and just Bev, like you said, like everything he pictured was with those kids, and so I thought it was pretty cool. That and yeah, it's obviously fan service, but they definitely drive the story and whatnot. And I don't think they put that in the show. I don't think, or if they did, they barely touched on it, if I remember right.
They
Did
took
they
out a
have
lot
them
of
in the show?
They took out almost everything that did not directly deal with JFK assassination, and I thought that was sad. I would actually love to see 11/22 63 remade in today's world and have a much longer TV show to pull in all the stuff that happens in Jody, Texas, and the stuff that happened in Derry, because they cut all that out.
Oh, what a shame.
Well,
Yeah, it really does.
it drives him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that he does in Derry, everything that he does in Florida, everything along
Florida's
the way
not
drives
all.
him and shapes
Mm-hmm.
shapes what he does. So yeah, that's
and we have some of Jody in the TV show because of Sadie, that whole story. But to me, that was chopped. It was like Eric, I don't know if he's watching, but he enjoyed the show because he has not read the book. So if you've never read the book, the show is it's gotten great reviews. I felt like they chopped it so bad. I wanted all the great parts, and they didn't put it.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you
I don't
honestly
think it's
kind of need.
I don't think it's bad. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think you kind of need those parts just to show that he was not just, tunnel vision on the JFK thing. Like, it showed him as a compassionate person who cared about lots of things, and he saw the totality of things, and he was getting the picture of course, he really gets the picture at the end, but just how, he kept talking about the butterfly effect, and he started really being conscious of, if I do this, how will it affect that? And so you really needed those things, those parts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you needed Harry. I'm sorry. We're so lagging behind. He needed the Harry Dunning in the show. I've seen this. I've seen the show, but they definitely need the Harry Dunning thing to drive. Even if they didn't put in the Florida stuff and the young girl that gets that gets paralyzed. Mm-hmm. Even if they didn't put that in there, they needed the Harry Dunning to and when he kills his father in the cemetery, they needed that to show some of the things that the reason why he still reacts the way he does, especially in Dallas at the time.
Yeah. So Harry, he is in the show, but it's different. A little bit different. What I really like about the book is Stephen King has him go back and forth a few times. Yes. Not just that first initial time, but he goes back and he tries to change, and he's realizing it didn't work or whatever. And so he keeps hopping back and forth. The book didn't do that. He went once and he saw it was real, or the movie didn't do that. Once and he went back to talk, and then he goes and he tries to do it. And I don't know. I wasn't impressed. Yeah. But Harry is important that he tries to save other people while he's there. And so he does in the book, he's hopping back and forth trying to keep fixing it. And then that makes sense at the very end when everything's all messed up.
Yes. And how did the movie handle his, because he had a really hard time on 11/22/63 on the actual date because of his own physical limitations. And so did the movie do all of that or no?
Yeah, but it was just like a span of a week, maybe not
Okay.
month. I think the book it was
Yeah, very
months.
small.
Yeah, and
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, the movie or the show, it's like a week long that he's suffering from his amnesia and
Mhm.
things like that. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, and then I thought my other favorite part before we even get to Jody in Texas is when he goes and and does the cribbage, and I like the interaction with his wife and I just thought that was really cool. She was like, "Who are you? You were sitting here to stop him from doing something," and I just thought the guy doesn't give himself away, or Jake never gives himself away really, but just the presence of him being there, I just thought that was cool. I thought that was a really excellent part, and it's such a small part, but it's meaningful, and I think again it drives him the way he does things in Jody and in Dallas.
And it also, there's a hint of humor there too, because her husband's like, "You really don't have to pay me." She's like, "Oh yes, he does." We need that money.
Yeah.
I think the back and forth when he goes back and forth and he's trying to save the paralyzed girl again, and he's trying to save Harry and it doesn't work, and he tries to do things without killing someone. So I think that's important to set up Jake's character for us to see what kind of person he is. So he spends all day with he just quits trying to manipulate the girls track and spends all day with the actual hunters track, and just shows what a really great person he is. And I think and I know this is not a movie book review, but I think the show missed out on that, and I think I had a really hard time relating to Jake in the show. It didn't seem genuine, and I think the casting was all wrong.
So that makes me question. That's the only question I have for the entire book, is if he was all right with taking the hunter and spending all day with. Why didn't he try to do the same? This is my question now, and we'll get more into it when we get there. But why didn't he do the same with Lee? Why didn't he interfere with Lee? Why didn't he knock Lee off the track instead of doing what he did?
Right.
And we'll get to, obviously, but that's, I want you to.
I think because of the amnesia. I think because of the amnesia, I don't think he had time. I think by the time he got, he didn't have time. And he does end up killing Harry's dad. So he's willing to do that.
But he does, interact, or he has chances to interact with Lee. He has chances to interact with Lee when he's living across from him, when he's spying on him. Even with the wife, when the wife comes in and says, "Have you seen Lee?" And I think that's the only thing that I question. Not that it's horrible, not that it changes anything about the book. I just wonder why he didn't do that, because I felt like that's the track we were going with. You know what I'm saying? Like,
because he was never 100%. He was never 100% sure that it was Lee. Remember, because he wasn't there when the general died. He had no, you know what I mean? He is that when
Sadie died? Good point.
You know what I mean? I feel like he never knew. He could never get himself to say, okay, Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. Because the whole thing was you have to figure that out. Because if it's other people, then you killing Lee is not going to do anything for you. And then he gets beat up and has months and months of rehabilitation. I just don't think he had time at the end.
Good point.
That's my own.
Good point.
That is a great point. Yeah. And Lee was a jerk.
Yeah.
Very much. Very much so.
Like I'm sitting here thinking, how could he have?
I think all the Lee stuff was taken from real world stuff. You know, obviously it was taken from real world stuff, but even just his interactions and things like that, I think it was taken from history books and or history books. So I thought, I got some questions about the other people that are involved when we get there, but I just like, what was I can't say he's got the really weird last name. Him and his wife were always visiting. and he's got the real. He's the is he the German or the Russian? I can't remember if he's Russian or German.
Oh,
But I know he threatened him and everything. But where was he real? I don't remember that name. I mean, like that's a name that's so out there and so wild and so weird that you can't pronounce it. That would obviously ring a bell to me that person was really involved. Yeah. And I don't recall him.
I didn't either. Yeah.
Like I remember watching JFK with Kevin Costner and them, and that name just doesn't ring a bell. Like I'm dead in on JFK with Kevin Costner. It doesn't ring a bell.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to Google, but it's not coming up fast enough. I thought he was because
I figured you were trying to Google. Dead air.
I thought he
Dead
was.
air, dead
now that you say that, I don't know. I don't know. Real people. Maybe if I put book instead of the world.
We didn't do our homework, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't. You're the one who asked this question. You should have Googled.
We didn't do our homework.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think he was.
I should have.
I feel like maybe he was.
That's what you guys are for.
Oops. I'm back on probation.
What was his name? Oh wait. So I did Google some of the addresses. You know, he would say the addresses, and I Google Earth. There's the one house where the Oswalds lived upstairs and he lived downstairs. That house is still, you can still see it in Dallas.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like maybe George would be a real person.
Yeah.
Because who told him to go? Who fired him up enough to try and kill the general? Because that never made sense. Because I never felt like Oswald was a racist. And the general was definitely racist and anti-K. So why would Oswald want to assassinate him on his own and then still assassinate JFK, who was not racist? So that part always confused me. So I feel that George guy was a real person. Wasn't he? Because didn't Marina go stay with his wife, and that's true?
He is a real person. I just found it.
Okay, yes.
American petroleum geologist and anti-communist political refugee, professor, and occasional CIA field agent. Moved to Dallas in October 1961 and best known for having befriended Lee Harvey Oswald in the summer of 1962.
Is his wife's name
I just feel like he would have.
Let's see. I'm looking.
Because Marina was not living with Oswald during that time. I thought she was with a lady named Ruth, but maybe it's not his wife.
The woman he was with was Jean, or Jeannie Lagon. Jeannie was his wife during this one. Okay. But I just feel like that name would have stuck out, or maybe it is, and I'm just not knowing how to pronounce it, and it sounds different on the JFK movie.
I'm not finding the name of his wife, but they keep referencing a wife, but I haven't seen her name yet.
I think.
Oh, here it is. Oh gosh, no wonder he was married 4 times. In 1959, he married a Russian American woman named Jean Lagon, Legon. So he was married to her at that time, in the early 60s.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yes. He actually testified before the Warren Commission about the whole Lee Harvey Oswald thing. So,
wow.
See, so maybe he was in the movie, and it just didn't put 2 and 2 together.
Because I think the TV show that Hulu did actually footage of him and his wife being interviewed, and her saying that Oswald would put out his cigarettes on Marina's arms.
Wasn't there something in the in this book about
Right.
He's
her
very
having a
abusive.
scar or something? There was
Yeah.
something. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there was about the scar.
Yeah, but the whole that's one of the plot things that I can never wrap my head around is why would Oswald want to kill the general when like the general's POV and JFK's POV were not the same kind of thing. So I feel like somebody was
Totally
stirring
opposite. Totally opposite.
behind the scenes. Yeah, and then I really, really like how Stephen King handled the things that we don't know historically.
Yeah.
So he made it so Jake was not there when the assassination attempt happened, because we don't know things. The way it ended, I thought he handled it very well, which is the things that we're just not sure of. He just did a great job.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was just literally such a page turner for me. Like I just couldn't put it down, so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. There, the whole Jody thing, the whole Jody timeline or the arc of Jody just was fantastic. And I love, and Deke is probably one of my favorite characters. And Ellie's okay. But just for some reason, like I feel like I'm Deke in this, like that's me. I'm Deke in this book. That was where I'm the old guy, and but I love Deke, and I thought the kids were all really well written, but I don't know. I still, the only thing. Well, let me ask you this: what did you dislike about the Jody arc, Amber?
Nothing. Nothing. I just like it all. No, really. Nothing. I was really upset when the Hulu show cut most of that out. He was there, obviously. You had to put the Jody Texas stuff in with him being a teacher. But just, the TV show starts in 1960 and it was 50. So it cut a lot of time out of there. I don't know. I liked it all. I think those were actually my favorite parts are when he's trying to see what Oswald's doing. But I just really liked him and Jody. I liked seeing that part of Jake. I really liked Jake. Or maybe his personality, his name was George during that time. I liked the George side of him. And I don't know. I don't have a bad word to say about the Jody stuff.
Yeah, the Jody stuff was my favorite part. I mean, I just absolutely loved
Miss
it.
Nina?
Yeah, I loved his interaction with the kids. I loved that high school wasn't he a quarterback who was, the kid who was just fantastic on stage, and all of that. I was just all in for that. So, yeah, I would have read a book. I would have just read that book.
Right, which is why I want the TV show redo. I want the TV show redo, and I want a show that's going to add all of the Jody stuff into the show because they missed an opportunity here.
Yeah.
So
what about you?
The only part that I don't understand, and the only part I don't understand is the Jimla. I still don't understand the Jimla, and why that was. Maybe it was because I was tired or something when I was reading that part. But what he's, I don't understand the Jimla, but I don't. Y'all can get mad at me if you want. I don't like the whole arc with Sadie and her husband ending the way it did. Or what he did. I don't like what he did. I don't feel like that was 100% necessary to even, have a confrontation, have him attack. But I don't know why he had to disfigure it. It didn't do anything to the entire story, like to me, anyways. It didn't do anything for him to attack her and disfigure her for the story to drive anywhere. So I think that's the only part that I didn't like about the whole Jody arc.
It did give another opportunity for George at that point to, again, just show us all over again what a great guy he is, because he didn't run away. And she gave him every opportunity in the world. I mean, she shoved him away, and he still wouldn't get lost. So, just all over again, you sort of fell in love with George.
So isn't that why he doesn't see the general getting assassinated or the assassination attempt, because he got the phone call from Sadie's ex-husband. So you need to get him away. But as far as her face getting disfigured is important because of the high school girl whose face got disfigured, and the whole novel is how the past is stubborn. What is the word he used? Obdurate. And that the past harmonizes. So there's so many things that happen in 11/22/63 that are mirror images of each other. And I think with Sadie getting her face cut, and then the town doing the same thing for Sadie, I think was in a way just kind of like a balance scale a little bit. I mean, sure, they could have not made her disfigured, but I think he wanted another thing that was kind of the same. Just like Sadie's name, like her name mirrored Henry's mom's name. There was all these things throughout, and I loved it because every now and then he'd be like, the past has to endure it, or the past has to harmonize. And I think that was just one of his little ways of making things equal and to show us how fantastic he is.
See, at first I thought that was part of the obviously the timeline was messing with him to keep him from doing things. And at first I thought that was, like you said, it was to keep him away from the general, but it still happened to her no matter what. So that through, because when you get to the end, she's still disfigured. So that's I guess to me, I guess you could have done something. I guess I didn't like the disfigurement. You could have done something else to keep him away, or to drive that. I get where you're going with the mirror, but I was like, you didn't have to disfigure her that bad. And then I'm a mental patient. You can't do anything to me. I'm not responsible. I didn't like that. I mean, and I know where he was going with, but
the husband.
I just felt. Remember her husband? Yeah, the husband goes. He goes, I have my mental hospital card. You can't do anything to me. I can't be held responsible. I just said, no, make him
pay.
Feel what he was.
I think Stephen King did a really good job of showing us little things from 1963, 1962, things that we didn't, like when he went to the bathroom in North Carolina and it had the sign pointed for colored bathroom,
and when he wanted to teach, Lord of the Flies,
and they wouldn't let him. Yeah,
that so there are all sorts of little things like that were brought out the culture of the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just think Sadie's disfigurement is meant to mirror Bobby's, whatever her name was, the little girls, the teenage girls.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point.
And it could also be
excellent point.
Well, I was just going to say, it could also be King just needing to do a little bit of his horror thing, Yes. I mean, this is who he is as a writer, so that he showed great restraint, but he had to put a little something in there, maybe.
So that's what I was going to say is the TV show. I knew it was coming, and I knew because it was a TV show and it was King, so it was really bloody in the TV show. It was still...
it was. That was... Yeah.
But it was... the whole reason why she left him was different, and I thought it was stupid. Just stupid. Like sometimes I don't know why they change things, but so yeah, that was like the only bloody part in the TV show, really.
Yeah.
Would you have really left some? Okay, you're Sadie. Would you have really left him because he sang a rock and roll song that was 2 years prior? I mean, really? Or because
no,
it was like 2 years before the Rolling Stone song came out.
It's nothing to do with the song. Dana, go.
I just would have needed him to. It would have been an indication that he was hiding something.
Yes.
And if he's hiding that, then what else is he hiding? And this is already a woman who's clearly traumatized. So she's not gonna. That would have been a huge red flag. Huge red flag. Like. if you're dating a guy and he always puts his phone face down, what's he hiding? And if he's hiding that, what else is he hiding? And you run.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with Dana. It was a trust issue, and it can be the most trivial thing, but it's like the icing on the cake. And she's like, you know what? There's been flags. You're not telling me something, and I don't trust you right now. So I'm just going to walk away. And so that's all it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would have done what Sadie did.
I get it, but like that song, like how does she know? I mean, how do you really know that? Like, I just feel like that song wouldn't set her
For
off.
1963,
You know what I'm saying?
It was vulgar, Dash. It was vulgar.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, how would she even not know that it was not out, though? Because if she doesn't like the vulgar stuff, she wouldn't listen to it, and she wouldn't have it on her radio or whatever.
Dude,
So I think,
wouldn't have been on the
I just
radio.
think there should have been something else that's
No, it wouldn't have been on the radio. There's probably only
killing me,
3
Smalls.
stations in Cody, Texas. There's no Spotify. There's no Sirius XM. I honestly think in small town Texas there have been 1 or 2 stations that played that music, and they just back then things were cleaner and squeakier on the air. FCC or whatever they're called.
I get.
No.
I just don't think that song would set somebody off. I just don't.
Well, and wasn't it
Don't,
really? I
Rebecca,
can't
sticks.
remember now. Wasn't it something about the way he reacted? Like, what did he say when she was like, "What are you saying?"
It was the react.
Yeah, didn't he react all squirrely?
It
and
really
then she
was
was
the
like,
reaction.
Yeah. Something. Yeah, it was just all a moment to set her off.
Yeah, he didn't have a nice, clean explanation, and that was the problem.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the sign. I mean, I think the sign. Even I think is Deke even knew it, or did Deke know it? Was Deke already onto it? And then I know Ellie was. That there were things about George and Jake, or there were things about his past that weren't. I think Deke was already or aware of what was going on, or starting to pick up. And I think Ellie was picking. It was Deke, because Deke then told Ellie, I think.
Yeah.
Because he told. That's right. That's how it was. So yeah, it would make sense that she was starting to pick up things too, because they were all little. A group of friends and so, but yeah, I just think, I don't know, it's just a slight thing that I didn't like, but overall, it didn't really, at the end of the day, didn't bother me that Rolling Stone set her off. But yeah, she was, I mean, and I understand where Ellie was coming from on that, but I think she was, she's Agnes across the street from Samantha and Darren. Abna. That's a Bewitched joke for any of you guys that are not up on your Bewitched.
Well, and which one of the characters had somebody at one of the schools had tried to check up on his references?
Because it was shot records.
Yeah, who was that? And they had sort of started to put things together. Was it Ellie? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the principal.
Oh, the school nurse.
The
school nurse and Ellie.
Right. So he had definitely, he didn't have a nice clean trail, and people were starting to realize that something wasn't quite right here. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did like the gambling angle. I did like how that all tied into each other, because we know the whole mafia and thing like that. So I did like that angle. Because I hadn't read the book and I had seen the show, I knew what to expect, but I didn't know it was. I was waiting for him to remember real quick, and then as we're driving 3 months in, or like 3 or 4 months into him, I'm like, damn, is he ever going to get his memory back? So, yeah, I just like the way he wrote it very well in the book. That was a very well written butt beating, is what I was trying to get at.
Yes. I think that really ramped up the tension, that whole part, once he got, he almost died and had to go through rehab, and just him trying to figure things out but knowing he wasn't supposed to tell Sadie about it, but not sure what he couldn't tell Sadie. And just, I think Stephen King just wrote that wonderfully. It was just so well written that I was very just gripped and didn't want to put it down by this point. Mm-hmm.
Well, the whole gambling thing, that whole
Yeah,
thread when you follow
yeah.
it through was just so good. Because it does from the beginning, the minute he places his first bet, you're like, this is not going to go well. Like something, he's gonna get caught
Yeah.
here. This is just too risky.
Mhm.
So and then you're just waiting for the moment when it's
Yeah,
just over the top. So
and that's what I like about it, because here he is doing all these bets and there's no consequences. And so you're like, oh, and I think what he does is keeps that's the furthest thing from your mind now, that nothing's going to happen because of these bets. Nothing's going to happen because he's getting all this money. And then I had to go back and go, where the heck did these guys come from? And I just thought it was so good, because you're just all of a sudden you're reading that he's getting his butt kicked. And I'm like, what? So, I just thought it was so well. And I thought it was placed obviously it's placed perfectly, but I think for him to wait, the way he wrote it for you just to forget about the bets. Because I wasn't sitting there going, after a while, I'm like, oh, he already made a bet. Nothing's happened. Okay. He's done the last bet. Nothing's happened. So I'm just going to be like, all right, we're going on. I'm looking forward to what he's going to do. And then bam, I just thought that was, like you said, Amber, that is perfect for tension and build up to get to the climax of the entire story. And I just, very good. Very good.
So I wish I had the book in front of me, but there is a part where he goes and he gambles on the wrong side of town, and he says something like, I'm just going to make it up because I don't know what it is. Something like, I probably shouldn't drive down this street again. My car's too noticeable, but I'm going to place this bet. And then the very last sentence is, but then I kind of forgot about that. And then he goes on. And so Stephen King just placed that little, like, something's going to come back here. Yeah. But you don't quite remember until you're like, oh, that's right. Somebody saw him when he was on that street. So yeah. I just think Stephen King is like a master at his craft. He's just he's so good. He's so good. This book is just an excellent, I'm telling anybody out there who has no desire to read like It or Pet Sematary or any of the horror stuff, read this one. And then you can say you've read Stephen King.
Right.
So
I
good.
agree. Mm-hmm. Totally unlike those others. So this is not.
Well, it's like fairy tale,
Yeah.
Fairy tale is another one that you can read and you won't be like.
It's not as good as this,
I feel like fairy tale and this one are no, but so yeah, I think I love that. I wish there would have been, and it's already long enough, but I really wish there was more Jody stuff, more in him and Sadie.
Yeah.
Because
I would totally read the novel.
I just really enjoyed their characters, and because I don't get hooked on a lot of his female characters a lot. Well, he does write a lot of female characters, but I for some reason Sadie was just. I probably the plight that she was put in, you're already endeared to her. But this was probably one of the most well written female characters that he's ever done, and I just felt like I wanted to see. I really wanted them to be together, and I was like, because I kept saying the whole time, even though I know what really happens, I'm like, the book's going to be different. He's not going to save JFK. He's going to end up with Sadie. And for some reason, I kept saying that because you don't get a whole lot of that in the movie. So you don't really know what goes on. So I was like, that I like that. That's probably why I like the Jody, Texas, and Sadie part a lot more.
And I think you're right. I wonder if Stephen King gave us so much of Jody because he wants us to think that maybe he'll just let JFK get assassinated and just stay.
Yeah.
Jake's just going to stay there.
Big part of me wanted that to happen.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Just let it go.
I agree. Yeah. Same here. Yeah.
But Jake is a good person, and he's going to do what his pal Al needed him to do, and he's going to try and fix the world. And he has to do it right, so he has to make sure that Oswald acted alone, or it's not going to work. So
yeah,
a lot of Dana.
Well, we saw. I mean,
me, like one of my favorite podcasters, she always talks about desire versus duty in a character.
Mhm.
And I think that Jake Epping is a great example of someone who struggles with that. And he does what he's supposed to do
Yep.
almost every time.
Yeah.
Makes the right decision. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. To his own detriment, he's
Yeah.
Jake, you
sacrifices-
goody two shoes.
Not really. No, he just
a good guy.
good grip on right from wrong and his mission.
Yeah.
He is a
What
good
he's
guy.
there
Yeah,
for. So,
but you don't get that. I think that's what I like about Jake, because you don't get that right away. You don't get that he is a goody two shoes, and I don't mean goody two shoes in a bad way, but you don't get that he's a really good guy at first. It's not. And he does a great job building Jake up the entire way, and I think that's probably, again, like you said, Dana, why I wanted them to end up together. Now I didn't cry at the end, like I've seen. I'm reading a lot of reviews where people did. I can understand. I'm not going to say I'm not going to make fun of it. I can understand why, but I was like, I was mad. I was mad. I wasn't crying. I was mad. So there, ladies and gentlemen, if you're paying
'Cause he
attention,
missed
I wasn't
out?
crying, but I was mad.
what when he
y'all
goes? Are we fast forwarding
Yeah.
to the end now? Like when he goes and he comes, or when he goes and he looks
No,
up. and
I'm
she's-
just,
Yeah, I cried.
yeah.
When he
But
did.
I don't want to jump
Yeah.
too far ahead, but I just want to say,
Yeah.
yeah.
So why were you mad?
Yeah, I didn't cry at that. I was mad because I wanted them together.
He's
Because
a boy.
I did. I wanted him to find a way to go back.
Yeah.
Yes, I was looking for him to find a loophole. I was looking for him to find a loophole to go back and be with her.
Yeah. Well.
If that, so see, guys can be hopeless for Mannix too. Guys can want it just as much as the girls do. But yeah, I was really, I wanted that loophole. I was like,
Yeah.
I did. I wanted a loophole where he found a way to go back and be with her.
Me
And
too.
so that's what I was hoping for, and it didn't work out.
Mhm.
No. So what do you think about after he stops the assassination? I think Sadie had to die. I think she had to be shot, and I think she had to die at that point. What do you think about
No,
how the
she
world-
didn't. She did not. She
Yes, she
didn't
did.
have to die.
You listen to me. Stop talking. She had to die because Jake had to make a decision, right? JFK's alive, but Sadie's dead. What do I do?
Yeah.
Me
So
too.
what I want to know is, what do you think of the
Yeah.
world after JFK was not assassinated? What do you think about how Stephen King wrote the world? Because it's all dystopian now, and Maine is part of Canada. That was crazy.
That was weird.
Saving JFK. I mean, I thought about this, and I was really going to ask this question, and I was going to ask the question today on Facebook. Not particularly if you saved JFK, but if there was one person you could go back in time, and you knew the world would change afterwards, but I was going to ask that question. I still might this week, but
Yeah.
the only thing, this is where I get mad, and this is why this is the part of the book that I didn't like, because I don't know if saving JFK. Well, I understand where he's going with, because of the butterfly effect and the time ripples, and you kind of see it with Back to the Future when Marty does something and then he goes back and everything's really, the whole timeline's changed. So I understand that. I didn't care for that. I think he put too much drastic in it. I think
Yeah.
like there was too much going on. Fine. I mean, in the real world, I wouldn't care if Maine joined Canada anyways. And I wouldn't mind if California went back to Mexico. In the real world, I wouldn't care in the real world. So if somebody wants to go back in time and make that happen, I'm okay with that. But I get it. He was trying to make the consequences dire for what his actions were. So huge repercussions for doing it. We don't see that a whole lot with time travel stuff. We see they went back, they changed it, they come back, and everything's all honky dory. So I did appreciate the dire consequences, and I mean, and if the female Clinton was in office, things really, really, really would be bad. But so I'm glad that didn't happen in the real world. I'm just kidding. I don't want to.
We're getting ready to get canceled right
no,
now.
Yeah, probably. I was just making a joke. I like the way that I did like the way that the timeline with the presidents shifted. So we did, Reagan was earlier in the time frame. We had presidents that weren't even
Wallace.
I think they were running, but Wallace. I did like that and how it shaped the world a little bit, but I think it was overboard somewhat on the of the repercussions. And I'll stop talking now. Danny, go ahead.
I think it needed to be overboard to make him want to go back and change it again. And if it was not that bad, he wouldn't have done it. He would have left it alone. So I think it needed to be really, really bad. And I have a fun fact, and then I'll let Dana answer. So I don't know if you guys know author Doris Goodwin Kearns. She wrote Team of Rivals, that really famous book with Abraham Lincoln. She writes a lot of nonfiction political novels. The Bully Pulpit that I'm reading.
Oh yeah.
She is friends with Stephen King, and in the acknowledgments, she's the one who helped him with that part. Like, if we changed history, and so she's like, well, what if we had Wallace? And I just think that's such a cool fun fact. But yeah, I think it had to be so insane because he meets Harry at this point, or Henry or whatever, and he realizes if he goes back, Henry's dad is going to kill everybody again. So if it wasn't this drastic, I don't think Jake would have walked back through. But sorry, Dana.
No, I totally agree. I think that's exactly what it was. If it was just a little bit bad, he would have thought, well, this all kind of evens out. But when it was so horrible, he was like, I've got to go fix this. So, yeah. And that kind of kept me on the edge of my seat, too, because he hung out in the hotel room writing his book for weeks on end. And I was like, the clock's ticking. You got to get back through the portal.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, that's what I was. I was like, when is he going to do this? Because that's a good point that he hung out way too long. I feel like, yeah.
So I was really, up till the very end, I was like on the edge of my seat going, he's pushing this too far. He's right when you get home.
I was confused. The only thing that really confused me that I thought was a lot of time travel mumbo jumbo is the guy in the hat, the yellow card man, and then the orange card man, and then the black card man who killed himself. I know King is probably trying to explain the ripples and how it gets worse every time, even though you don't talk to somebody or whatever, it's still worse.
Yeah.
I was still a little confused at that conversation.
And then he was the green card man all of a sudden. I was
over
like,
again. Like it reset.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
That
the only part.
Yeah, that was. I didn't understand that a little bit. I'm right there with you. I kind of figured out where he was going. Like, it was showing like, well, the green card means everything's good, or that's the way I thought. But I could be way off. But yeah,
that makes sense.
I don't know if he was. I guess he was needed. I guess he was needed, but.
Or maybe the black was really just needed? Too much. You've changed too much. Like you didn't just talk to the milkman.
Yeah, you've changed too much.
Killed somebody, or not killed somebody, or whatever.
Yeah. And he was the one who kept doing the Jimla thing, so that was connected.
That's how Jimla.
Yeah,
I think the whole Jimla. The Jimla is just.
I know, but I still.
It all harmonizes, right? We have to have all these things tied together.
Yeah. Yeah. So he was the one character.
That's the only thing that didn't tie into me.
World,
though. I just don't know what it meant.
It meant nothing. I don't think it meant anything.
Well, and it was it was the coach's name. Like they had the cheer at the game. It was
the quarterback, Jim Ledoux.
That was the football player's name.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's where it came from. But I just took it to be that, the little green card guy, orange card, whatever he was, the little card guy. He was just like the one character who sort of knew what was happening here. He knew what these people were doing, going back and forth. And he was sort of almost like a barometer for how things were going.
Yeah.
But
yeah. That sounds right. Yeah.
But But I was waiting for a big payoff with Jimla. Okay, I was waiting because this was kind of a factor. So I was waiting for a big payoff with Jimla, and when I didn't get a big payoff with Jimla, I was a little ticked off.
Yeah.
No.
Why?
You know, the one little part that I loved so much is just a silly little thing, and it was right at the beginning. But when the Al isn't when that is named, the guy who owned the diner, and he had the best burgers in town, and they were huge and they were so cheap, and it was because he's buying his beef in 1958.
I know.
I just loved that little detail so much.
1958, yeah.
Yeah, that's so
going back
funny.
and forth, and he can do anything he wants. And what's he do? He picks up a few pounds of ground beef on his way back home. So,
That was yeah.
I know, poor Eric.
That was
I
perfect.
know I probably drove him crazy when we watched the TV show because when he buys the car, the Sunliner or whatever, I told Eric, I said, well, in the book, he goes back and forth enough that he knows he can lowball the guy. So they totally missed all that. And Eric's just like, I know in his brain, he's like, I wish he'd shut up.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not right. This is what happened. Because it was so
He did lowball him. He did lowball him really good too.
so different. It was so different. And like just Dana,
yeah.
Bill Turncoat, the guy who wanted to kill Henry's dad, Frank Dunning,
Yeah.
he ends up just stopping him like he does in the book, but then he ends up going to Dallas with him and they become buddy and partners. And that
Yeah.
And the only thing I could think of was that maybe because
I
in the
didn't
book
like-
so much we are in Jake's head, and to be able to have Jake actually talk to somebody throughout, you know, why they're recording the Oswalds, he needed somebody else there, and they made it be Bill. But then Bill ends up dying.
Yeah, but they could have done Deke. They could have done Deke better.
No, I don't think they needed anybody. I think maybe they could have had him keeping a diary or something, you know, like writing it down.
Yeah,
That was the part I hated the most was Bill.
Yeah.
I don't know why he was there. And then he dies. I'm like, well, why is he even here?
Yeah. Wow.
Damn, Bill. Damn you,
I
Bill.
know. I don't know. I mean, listen, Dana, he had to get Bill out of the way because Bill befriends Oswald and starts having an affair with Marina.
Yeah.
And so he has him admitted to an insane asylum. So Bill ends up killing himself in the asylum. Why? I don't know. It was so
Well,
wild.
yeah, that was
If they're going to go to all
That
that
was what I was
trouble, why
glad
not
about.
just
We read
use
this-
real stuff from the book?
Right.
Like-
Exactly.
yeah.
It was-
Wow.
That's why when I'm reading this book and Bill's nowhere near him, I'm like, oh, thank goodness. That was ridiculous. The whole Bill. I think the whole Bill storyline in the show was ridiculous. So
Yeah, it was. It really was.
oh,
So after the
No,
crazy dystopian, he goes back, but then he just goes like it was a boom boom thing, right? He just went and reset it,
Right.
and then went.
yeah,
to
he
20
walked in and walked out, but
Yeah, to
Mhm.
reset it. Okay, trying to remember
Walked in and walked out.
because I
and
like.
that's why I was
started
mad.
reading this-
And that's
I started
go
reading this,
get
like,
her. Go get her.
And I read 500 pages in one day, so I had.
Wow.
I had got up in the morning, coffee, I did my
That's literally
chores. I looked at my calendar and I went, I have nowhere to be. Grabbed that book and I crawled back in bed and I stayed there till 4.
Good for you.
All I did was read 11/22/63.
That's literally 2/3 of the book.
Yeah, I read a lot.
That's awesome.
Mhm. It was a great day. But you know, like Victorian women, they
Oh,
take
yeah.
to their bed a lot. I'm implementing that in my life.
I
Sometimes
like this.
taking to my bed.
I love this. It's a great idea.
It really is.
We
Take my
just
book.
need a kitchen maid who can manage dinner while we're.
Because I did have to let the dogs out, and I think I did get up laundry. And
What's the timeline for Lazy Men? That's the one. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
I don't know. I don't live. A woman's
2025.
world, a woman's place is in the home, and that's.
If you're independently wealthy, it doesn't matter what time you're from. You can
That's
do whatever
right,
you want whenever you want.
I don't
This
know.
is true. This is true.
Okay.
Oh man, yeah. But I really wanted him to go back when he stepped in. I'm like, and why did he? I don't think if he goes and saves her that the timeline would have been as devastated as it was when he saved JFK, because JFK is obviously a huge person, and the effects of saving him probably would send some of these things. I don't think going back and being with her and saving her would have done anything. I don't think it would have.
Yeah, I kept waiting
That's
for
me.
him.
That's
to
just
go to
Dash
Texas.
being wishful thinking. Because
Yeah. I kept waiting for him to go to Texas and just staying there.
Yeah.
But that's not what Mr. King wanted. He wanted the ending
so
that
I'm
made
going
me
to call
cry.
him later and have some
Right.
words with him.
Wanted the ending that made me cry,
Steven,
Yes.
and I love that he tried
Steven,
so hard.
I am mad at you because you didn't let them hook up.
I like that he
Sure.
tried very
Sure.
hard to not Google anybody. Like, he didn't look anybody up. He tried very hard to just leave it alone, and then he couldn't handle it anymore, and he found her, and then he danced with her.
Right. Yes.
The Lindy Hop.
Yes. And she knew she knew him somehow,
Yeah,
but she just couldn't quite,
So
How
now
do I
she-
know you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that's the question I have. How would she? Because he reset the timeline, so she would have never have met him.
They were
'Cause he reset
soulmates.
the timeline.
Soulmates
So
and
that's-
Souls. Yeah, their souls crossed time.
So one of my favorite quotes is from Wuthering Heights, and she says, "Whatever our souls are made of, his and mine are the same." And that's what it was for Sadie and Jake.
Yes.
Matching souls.
Yep.
How
That's
old was
what
she
I took
then?
it to be,
What?
Amber. Exactly.
How old was Sadie? Sadie was mid-20s, wasn't
So
she?
she
Oh,
would
at
have
the
been
end, she was in the 80s or something, right?
Yeah.
She
But
was
no, she would have been. Yeah, she'd been 70, 78, 70, 78,
well,
somewhere
40
around
years
somewhere.
later, so in her 70s, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Late 60s, yeah. Too old for Jake.
Yeah.
Too old for 2011 Jake.
Right.
Well, no, because he was 40. That's fine.
Jake
Get him
40.
some cougar, Jake.
Oh my gosh.
At that point, she's not interested.
I
Oh.
was waiting for Bobby and her boyfriend to show up there at the end too. I was hoping that they would have had an appearance. I know the DJ did, but I was hoping Bobby, because they would be just a little bit older than he was, like probably in their 50s, maybe 50s.
Well, because
So they would have just been a little bit older than him. I would have liked to have seen that.
Yeah, I was doing the math, and I guess in real life he's a little bit older than us, I think.
Yeah.
So,
I thought he was in his 40s. I thought he was in
No,
his
he was in
40s.
he was
Maybe a
like
little
30.
older than us.
No, yeah, he wasn't in his 40s. Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
Mm-mm. He was not too much older than 30.
Damn
I
you,
thought
Jake.
he was right at 30 or something.
Yeah.
30.
Yeah, in
Early
2000.
30s.
Yeah, maybe he was our like around our age in the
That's 2011.
2011.
And then the movie made it.
because that was 21.
2016. How? What? You were?
I was 21 in 2011.
No, you weren't. No, you weren't. You were 21 in 1994.
I was going to say, we're not that far apart in age.
21.
21 was a
Well,
long time ago for
I
me.
was 21 in 2011.
So if he was a little bit older, then he was probably early 30s in the book, I guess. Yeah.
Because he was born in 78. He was born in 78.
Oh, he's younger than us. I thought he was.
Yeah,
older.
I no, he was he was
Anyway.
born in 78. If I remember,
In
if I
2011,
remember
he was way too young for
correctly.
Sadie.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Go, Jake. Go, Mr. King. Please write a book where he goes back and gets Sadie.
Or he changes it. Well, then okay, but the portal closed up.
Yeah.
That was the other thing. Gone.
Yeah, the portal's
Done.
gone.
And that was the other, that's right. That's the thing with the whole dude with the yellow card, because the portal, there's too many portals, I think.
Right.
Or something was weird and Jake had to stop it, so no more.
Yeah, he wasn't the only like card
Wasn't
guy
the
around
only
town,
one.
around the world. There were
Yeah.
others. They were
So-
like portal watchers or something.
So I wonder how many time travelers there are.
Right.
Hold on, let me call Steven. Steven,
So
I need
in
you
the-
to find another wormhole for you to send Jake through back and marry
we can have
Sadie. Thank
Sadie.
you. I left it at the beat.
Yeah.
I know, I just like them. I like that couple. Leave me
Yeah.
alone.
Did too.
But I think the book had a realistic ending. And again, Jake did what was right over what he
Mhm.
wanted to do. And
And
I loved it.
He did get to have his
Well, that's
moment with
That's
Sadie.
not always
to-
right. That's not always
Yeah.
good.
It's not always good.
What are you talking about?
Right is not always good.
You got the dipper. Right is never good. Never.
You're
no,
in
kidding.
your own world, buddy.
No. Yeah, I did. I am. I mean, even though I didn't like the ending, it was a good ending. It really was.
It was.
I shouldn't say I didn't like the ending. The ending wasn't what I wanted, what Dash wanted at that moment, but it was still a good ending.
I think it ended the
I'm
way
glad
it
he got to
needed.
see her and that she was alive.
I don't think
Yeah, I
it could have ended any other way.
But if King
It
wants
absolutely
to
could have.
write another book with another portal and Jake goes through it and they have another life together,
We would
I
be
will
all
read
for
that
that.
book.
Yes. Mhm. For sure.
I got him on speed. I got him on speed dial. I'm calling him right now.
Taking a
Yeah.
Stephen King masterclass.
No, I mean, yeah, you're right. I don't think it could have ended any other way, even though I wanted it to end another way. You're right. I don't think it could have ended any other way than that right there.
Mm-mm. Nope.
And that makes me sad.
Yeah.
And that makes me sad, ladies and gentlemen. Sad. Oh.
On
Well, that was
note,
a fantastic book. Yeah, I'm so glad you picked it.
Me
Yes.
too.
good job. But maybe next time let's coordinate links of review books back to back.
Yeah. My next one's really short.
Mine. So is mine. They're both for middle schoolers. March, April, it'll be a breeze.
Yes.
So what are we doing for March?
The Ogress and the Orphans by Kelly Barnhill.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
I have read one other book by her and I absolutely loved it. So,
That's
Awesome.
right. That's right.
Looking forward to it.
yeah, I am too. She's good. What was it? The Girl Who Drank the
And then
Moon?
April, we are doing
Yes, that was good.
the
What did
girl,
Wonder-
the girl who drank the moon is April.
No. Nope. Sorry. She wrote a novel called The Girl Who Drank the Moon that Dana and I both read. It's really good. We were trying to think of the name. So
Yes.
April is we're doing a movie
Oh, okay.
combo.
Oh.
So Dana, what is it?
Wonderstruck.
Oh, that's right.
Yes. Yeah. It's a very
Wonderstruck.
different book. It's like parts, there is text, but there are lots and lots of pictures. And so you really need to have the print copy in front of you.
I ordered it. It's on its way. But who wrote
Right. I love pictures.
Whoops, I'm losing my computer. Let me look up the author's name because I can't remember right now. Let's see.
Wonderstruck.
Should have it on the tip of my tongue. Brian Selznick.
Oh, he wrote.
Selznick. He's done
He
others
writes
of these books.
Is it Hugo? One of them. Hugo?
I think
Hugo
so.
Cabaret. Hugo.
That sounds right. Let's
Yeah, and
see.
it has lots of pictures. Yes, and it's really good. Yeah, and I think there's.
Yes, he did write
Yeah.
that one. Yes, The Invention of Hugo Cabaret.
Yes,
Yep.
that's really good. Okay, so Wonderstruck's going to be great then. I like that author.
Yeah.
Cool
I have
beans.
not watched the movie yet, so that'll be fun.
No, I'll probably do that right before, like the
Mhm.
weekend we do this.
Yeah.
Keep it in my brain.
Yeah.
So Dash,
I have got them both on my wish list. All right.
I think you need to give your rating first, so that you don't purposely go higher than me.
All right. So. Don't pay attention to what I put in. Don't pay attention to what I put in Goodreads. I just had to mark it. I just put a stars to say I read it because I'm going to do my review tonight. It is a 5-star book. It is a fantastic read. Even though I was mad in a couple of places, if you can get me to really care about your characters enough that I want them to be together, you've written a very good story for me. And you know, I just, again, the storyline was perfect. I thought, I thought his character build up throughout was fantastic. Like I said, at first you're like, I don't know if Jake's a good guy, but as you see his character progress on through, and you really, and I'm endeared to him, where I want him to go back. You've done a really good job in a book, and so I love the storyline. I thought the time travel aspect of it was really cool. We see a lot of time travel books, but this one I thought was really cool. I did like I complained about the consequences, but overall the consequences were well met, and I thought that's exactly what was needed for Jake to do what he had to do. There was not a character that sometimes Stephen King can write characters that I just don't care about, and there's a lot of characters in here that I absolutely cared about. Like I said, I love Deke, I love Sadie, I love Jake, I love the kids. So it gets a 5-star. It's just one of the best Stephen King books I've read. I'm going to call it non-horror Stephen King books. One of the best. Because like you said, I think Christine and I think The Stand are his 2 best horror movie books or horror books ever written. So non-horror, this one has one of my favorite books by him. So 5-star, ladies and gentlemen, 5 stars.
Very good. Awesome. Dana?
Oh, my next. So yeah. I'm giving it a 4-star just because 5s for me are like heart books, like the ones that sort of are the fabric of my life kind of books. But this one is darn close. This one is
boo, hiss, boo.
Yeah.
I love the characters. I love the story. I'm a cover person. I really love covers. I don't know if y'all noticed that the front cover gives you the real headline and the back cover gives you the alternate history headline, and it looks so authentic,
It does. It really does.
Yeah, so I love that. That gave it extra points. So I just really do love this book. It's absolutely my favorite King book I've ever read. And I've not even come close to reading them all, but definitely my favorite one. Yeah, I still want Sadie and Jake to be together. So like you said, they're very memorable characters, and you sort of feel like you know them and you're living with them for a long time after the book. So highly recommend.
Yes. One thing that drives me crazy about Stephen King, and I would have to go, I haven't read any of his original stuff in a very long time, but Fairy Tale and then rolling into here is, if you're a Democrat, you're a good guy. If you're a Republican, you're a bad guy. And that was all through this, and it would drive me insane. All that being said, I cannot remember the last time I crawled in bed and read 500 pages of a book and refused to brush my teeth. So that alone, I'm giving this 5 stars.
Yeah.
I always think about characters because I always try to think about what Dash is going to ask here. Mm-hmm. So we talk a lot about characters, and I couldn't think of a favorite character. Mm. And the more I thought about it, I was like, because I loved them all. I want to go to Jody, Texas, and I want to meet Marina. I want to see what Dallas looks like in 1962. So this is this book is fantastic. Fan-freaking-tastic. I just thought it was one of the best books I've read in a very, very long time.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
So I'm going to caveat what you said. Yeah, I try to put the political side of people behind, especially when they're creators. Especially, I try to put the art first. The art that they create is first and foremost. But I will agree with you. There are times he portrayed, and I do disagree with that part of him. It is what it is. But
it didn't bother me in this
yeah,
one. I think it
you're
really
right. I
bothered
could
me.
not think. That just again, I loved all the characters because I'm so endeared to Teak.
Yeah. Everybody was great.
You think what?
I said everybody was great, even the bad guys. Like, we're just so well written and you were invested. So this is a good one, my friends. I know if you've never read it, we spoiled a lot, but you're still going to enjoy the ride.
Yes.
So go read it.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, we didn't even give.
That Hulu show.
We didn't even give half of it away.
Yeah. Oh no, there's
Don't watch the
still
show.
so much.
Read the book. Yeah,
Actually, I
we did
think
not
watch
give any
the
of
show.
it away.
I think it's okay to watch the show. I think the book is going to give you so much more. But like I said, I think Eric liked the show, and the show has excellent ratings. I think it rated really high on Rotten Tomatoes. But those are people that I don't think read it.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
I will agree with that. Guys, we skated through. Amber and I did not beat each other up. That's great. I'm so glad that I get a week now. We are at another end of the month. Coming up on the 20. The paperback comes out on the 28th. The hardback will be this Wednesday.
Yay!
Wow.
We had to make some. Had to do some quick changes. So that will be out. So the book will be out. I seriously, after I published it, I'm sitting there going, I missed this, I missed that, I missed this. Oh, I think I left a plot hole. I'm sitting here questioning, but I seriously, if you guys read it, I want you to be as honest as you possibly can be. So I
don't know how to do anything different.
Become a better writer. So I can be.
I do not know how to do it
so I
differently.
can become a better writer.
I'm looking forward to it.
I feel 80% good about it. That might drop later. But I hope you guys like Colt. I hope you like I hope you catch on some of the things that I did. Taya is my Native American wonderful spirit walker, spirit talker. In the real world, she talks kind of like what's her name from Dances with Wolves? I can't. Mary McDonald, I think was her name. You know how she'd been taken, but so her English was very broken. So Taya talks very broken English in real world, but in the spirit world, perfectly. Colt is very Texan. Some of them are not very tech. I want to see if you catch all the nuances. I'm trying not to give away too much, but I want to see if you catch the nuances of the characters. But yeah, I'm excited for you guys to read it. And
tell me again what day.
Maybe we'll do a one shot on it.
Yeah.
Friday the paperback comes out. Wednesday the hardback comes out.
Okay.
There's two. There's a hardback and a paperback.
Put it on the calendar.
And maybe we can do a one shot on it. Just I'll sit back and let you guys do the entire review of it. Maybe I don't show up and I just let you destroy me.
Maybe
no,
it'll be better for your nerves if you're not staring at us.
No, it won't. No, we'll figure something out. So we'll be back next month. We're doing. Is next month? March is middle school March, right? So we're trying to do as many middle school books as we can. Was that the thing?
We are going to talk about 5 of our favorite middle grade books. You pick 5 that you like. We all pick 5, and we just do really quick synopsis about why we like them. Yeah.
That's our one-off. Then we have reading roundup, and then we have
Ogress
I'll read
and
for
the
the month.
Orphan.
So, all right, cool. So we got 3 shows next month.
It's a middle grade book.
Yeah,
so.
Ogress and the Orphan. Excellent. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back. Can't wait. We're doing Kate Bush this Wednesday. If you guys want to check us, we're doing. Listen, I didn't even know who Kate Bush was, and no, she's the one that everybody started.
Right.
Yes.
So yes,
the one
that's the one.
So we're doing Kate Bush this. If you
fun.
And then we just did. What did we do last week? God, it's been a long week. Oh, we did a really cool indie band. We actually got to interview. Well, he got to interview them. We got to hear their interview, and it's really cool. So if you guys go and check that out, it's the Mr. Gnome. It's a husband and wife duo, and just a really cool mixture of psychedelic, pop, rock, goth, and you name it. It was all in there. It was a really good album called Heave Your Skeleton or Heave Your Dragon, Heave Your Skeleton. I can't remember. It's been a long week. Anyways, that has been our show. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming out. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Man, we're just reading roundups not that far away. So and our one shot's not that far away. So we'll be back.
I'll text you guys because I have some scheduling things in March. So I'll let you know.
All right. Sounds
just
good.
let me know.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye. Thanks, guys. Bye.